Elizabeth Warren was recently questioned by Emma Vigeland regarding her recent yes vote to increase the military budget in 2017. Now, let's get something straight here. There's this preconceived notion that most people have regarding the progressives running for office today, that they are completely free from corruption, and to a large extent, this is true. However, let's just be real. We thought Beto O'Rourke was a progressive. We were rooting for him in Texas when he was running against Ted Cruz. We thought he was going to vote in favor of things like Medicare for all and so forth. And I can show you tons of videos of Kyle Klinsky and TYT hosts, including myself, where we were all just loving on Beto O'Rourke. But here's the thing. Beto O'Rourke took money from oil companies years ago. He's raised a ton of money with fundraisers, and he's been doing this consistently. It's not like this stuff was completely hidden. I don't think necessarily that progressive hosts intentionally knew about this and supported these candidates in light of these facts. I think that these hosts, including myself, we just didn't do our investigative research well. And when we did, we often mistook corruption as a benign problem. Well, in a way, Warren and Sanders are not so different. They are not as bad as Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke dips his feet significantly in big money. But Sanders and Warren are not completely innocent of this sort of similar thing. I know saying this will lead to many dislikes, but someone needs to say it. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren sometimes follow the establishment in gross ways. For one, they both take corporate PAC money, for example, during their Senate races. I don't care what you say, that will influence them. Bernie Sanders voted to approve James Mattis, John Kelly, and David Shulkin for Trump's cabinet. Elizabeth Warren also voted for James Mattis and David Shulkin, and additionally voted for Nikki Haley, which was gross, by the way. She flipped on Syria for a moment, disagreeing with Trump's decision to pull out rapidly as a naive strategy. She at one point was slightly wishy-washy with Medicare for all. These are not good things. Now, that being said, do I think that Warren and Sanders are like disqualified? No, but there's still corruption involved. Warren at one point said that she would take the leftover campaign contributions to beat Trump. And regardless of what you think about that, that means she's going to take DNC money if she wins the primary to defeat Donald Trump. But that DNC money, like, there's blood in there. There's corruption in there. I disagree with that, and I'm afraid that might motivate her. A lot of Wall Street money involved in that. But even with that said, I would take Sanders and Warren any day. The right thing to do moving forward is to just hold accountability towards these strange votes and these strange political calculations. I want to show you a great interview question from Emma Vigeland now, because she does exactly that. She asks Elizabeth Warren a question that no reporter has ever had the courage to ask. Take a look.
I asked Senator Elizabeth Warren about her record when it comes to the military budget and foreign policy, which some from the left have criticized her on, I think with legitimate cause, and this was her answer. You have focused a lot on progressive domestic policy. You also voted for a military budget increase in 2017. How does that square with your progressive politics when we're talking about foreign policy?
If the question is, do I think we should cut the military budget, the answer is yes. And I'm now on the Senate Armed Services Committee. I've had this fight over and over. But there's another part to it, too. We need to stop the control over our defense budget that's exercised by the giant defense industry. As you know, we now have a Secretary of Defense who spent 7 years as head lobbyist for Raytheon. I asked for some simple conflict of interest rules that he would abide by. For example, not to make decisions that involve Raytheon and Raytheon's bottom line. And he refused. The Republicans confirmed him anyway. But this is what corruption is all about. Putting lobbyists in charge of our government agencies, a lobbyist, former lobbyist in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency. This is the heart of corruption. And the moment has come to call it out and to fight back. That's what being in this room was all about.
Yeah, but that's what Emma is doing to you. She's calling you out, and you just completely dodged the question because it makes you look bad. Then you project and rely on whataboutism. What about the leading Raytheon lobbyist? Well, what about you, Warren? That's the question. The question isn't about Raytheon. Like, that's bad. We understand that. The question is about your vote. Let me read the question again to you guys. Quote, you voted for a military budget increase in 2017. How does that square away with your progressive politics? Warren's immediate response was, quote, if the question is, do I think we should cut the military budget? The answer is yes. Now, pause. Try to make sense of that. Warren votes in favor of a military budget increase and then claims that she wants to cut the military budget. That's not how logic works. That's not how logic works. Now, after Warren said that, she goes on to talk about why we should cut the military budget. What Warren is doing is actually pretty smart. It's a really good political calculation. And she's made several of these that have led to some controversies, such as like the Native American thing and the fact that she sided with Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders in 2016, which was incredibly disastrous. What Warren is doing is she's realizing that she's cornered right from the get-go. You see, Emma's question is one of those questions that frames you in a way that negatively impacts your campaign, and there was nothing Warren could do about it. She also knew that progressives want her to answer with something that shows that she is a progressive in this way. So what she did was a fallacious tactic that's actually really smart, but also pretty misleading. Instead of admitting guilt, she simply sides against herself without exploiting that, and then explains why that progressive position is a good one, as if she's been in favor of that progressive position the whole time. She completely ignores the framing of the question. Let me put it this way. If I say that climate change is a hoax, and you call me out by asking, you've said climate change is a hoax, do you really think that? Imagine if I said, climate change is real, and there's like a bunch of evidence as to why that is. I think it's terrible that other people think that climate change is not real. We need to stand up against people who don't believe in climate change. You see what I did there? I took the stance against myself in a way that makes me look like I'm obviously on the right side. Like now I'm arguing against you, even though I'm really arguing against myself. My response makes it strange that you would even question me because my current position is correct. What people might not notice in this video is that Warren is arguing against herself, which is not good. Joe Biden did the same thing with abortion. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Joe Biden was against abortion like a few months ago, and for basically his entire life. Now all of a sudden, Biden is pro-choice, and he portrays himself as a leader in this, as someone who's been pro-choice the whole time. It makes it really awkward now to question Biden because to most progressives, Biden is on the right side of the issue. And so, like, why are you questioning the right side of the issue? Because he swapped positions. I'm glad Emma asked this question because it brings about accountability. And I hope that Warren thinks twice when she gets the chance to prove that she actually wants to cut the military budget.